Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Preparing for retirement at an early age. Up next, some of the trends surrounding millennials and retirement savings. Well, it's never too early to start planning for retirement. For one of the youngest generations, millennials, this is the case for many. CEO and president of the Health Facilities Association of Maryland, Joseph DeMattos Jr. joins us now with more. So thank you very much for being with us.
Good morning, Shelley.
And I asked you right off, I said, what's your definition of a millennial? What age are we talking about here?
So we're talking about early 20s to sort of mid 30s. You know, maybe 1981, 1982 to 1996 or 2000. There's sort of a debate about the start and the end years, but let's talk about 25 to 35.
Okay. And do you find that this generation is thinking less about retirement than past generations?
You know, it's interesting. CNBC polled, along with Bankrate.com, and they polled millennials about retirement. They have some definite ideas about both retirement and work. As a cohort, they want to retire earlier, 61. But what's really interesting is a full 2/3 of the millennials haven't saved anything for retirement. And they're actually very similar to the boomers in that respect, that we were sort of unprepared, continue to be unprepared, some of us, for financially for retirement. So of the boomers, of the millennials surveyed, 2/3 of them haven't saved anything for retirement. 1/3 have saved something, and that average is about $19,000. So that's not going to be enough if you want to retire at age 61.
Okay, so what's the thing here that you're saying? What do they need to do? I mean, obviously start saving. But...
Yeah, you know, I mean, so look, there are boomers that are still planning for retirement. Yeah. They're not going to expire at 65 or 67 or 70, and they're still talking with financial professionals. And millennials need to do the same thing. You know, contact a licensed financial professional and just, you know, talk about what their expectations are for retirement, what they can sort of do to plan. The reality is that millennials, early 20s to mid 30s at this point, have a lot of time to get this right. You know, the time is on their side in terms of making investments and saving and putting aside for their retirement.
But it's also you're wasting time and money, essentially just leaving money if you're not starting sooner.
Yeah, I think so. You know, the millennials are the most highly educated cohort in the history of the United States. They're about to overtake the boomers in terms of total number of adult individuals. In 2020, think about this, 1 in 3 adults in this country will be a millennial. And in 2025, 75% of the workforce will be millennials, right? So I'm optimistic about their future, but they have to sit down and talk with financial planners and figure out what they're going to do in terms of their retirement.
I know, when you think about it in those terms, it sounds a little scary. But also, like you said,
it's doable.
Yes.
It's absolutely doable. I think what you look at with millennials compared to boomers is millennials had to deal with the Great Recession, right? So they're highly, highly educated, but they kind of have a lot in common with their great-grandparents dealing with the Great Depression. You know, they're highly educated, but they came up at a time when the economy was changing and slowing and challenged, and they're going to have to deal with that. And you know, I'm optimistic. Personally, I'm optimistic. You know, the millennials will overtake the boomers in a year and a half. 73 million millennials versus 72 million boomers, and they're a caring, highly educated, capable age cohort. I think they're going to do great things.
All right, got to start thinking about retirement too, because you don't want to
They
work all the time.
They do.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Shelley.